It. I just turned the camera on now. Was it your wife's family's business or your?
Mine. It was mine.
Okay.
He had bought York Lumber Company. That's where the York came in, from Bruce York.
Gotcha.
In 1950. 1960, he moved to Brooks Road, in an area known loosely as Brookhaven.
Okay.
So and we're still operating as York Lumber Company Incorporated.
Oh, so there is still a business in operation now?
Yes.
Okay.
This is all I've ever done. And I don't remember when they bought the truck. 62 or 3 or somewhere.
Oh, so they didn't buy it new?
I don't think so. I'll be 65 in 2 weeks. I've got an older brother, 77, and poor health. But he worked there all his life also. We bought it for Mr. Todd, who was our dad's junior partner and ran the remodeling. And he was a lard ass. He rode the clutch, and we couldn't keep a clutch in it.
Oh, no kidding.
And he held his heel on the clutch pedal, and his toe stuck up, and if I remember right, he kept blowing the turn signal flasher unit. And there's a knob under the left side of the dash you pull to tap a reserve gas tank.
It would have been between the driver and the passenger seat, on the floor, kind of like between your knee, by your knee, almost.
I remember there was some thing like that. And I started working there about 1963, in the summers and weekends. I was 13 or so. But when I turned 16, they put me on a delivery truck. I did it all.
And that was that the delivery truck?
That was the one Mr. Todd drove for remodeling primarily. I drove it a little bit.
Okay.
We had a 3/4 ton pickup and a 2-ton flatbed.
And so this would have been the only VW then?
Yes. The others were GMCs.
Huh. I was wondering if there was a sister. Because my guess was, because I was looking at when it was made in 59. I looked up the business. It said 1960 it started. And that so I was kind of guesstimating that the truck was bought when they opened the business, and by the time I got lettered and everything, it was all kind of set up. But again, you know, I'm just kind of guessing that as time goes by.
Well, we started operating at Brookhaven Lumber Company in 1960.
Gotcha.
And they had me doing everything. The day I got my driver's license, I was on a 2-ton flatbed with a whole house pattern of framing lumber, and I delivered plywood and sheetrock and roofing and cement, and I'm 6'4", and I weighed 117 when I graduated from high school. So I was scrawny, and some of this stuff weighed almost what I did. But that's what we did. So they sold it somewhere around 66 or 7. I don't remember.
And because you couldn't keep a clutch in it?
Yeah, primarily.
Well, I haven't burned a clutch up in it yet, but I'm used to it. Again, you know, I've had a history with VWs. When I was late 70s, early 80s, I worked in a VW shop in New Jersey, so I have a history of working on them to begin with. And back then, they were just just utility cars and trucks, and now it's turned around to now where they're collector's items and etc.
Well, Bill works with me. He's my age, and he saw it. He was looking at something on motorcycles, and he says, "Oh my God, is that y'all?" Yeah, and I have some advertising memorabilia. I'm going to send you.
Awesome. That from the time period kind of thing, or?
Yeah, it's embossed.
Oh, awesome. I did Google Earth the one building, and I know you can still see the writing down the side of it. That still says Brookhaven Lumber Company. And in the front, it says a furniture refinishing company.
Yeah, they do fire restorations now.
Okay. But that's not related to you at all, right?
No. No, we closed the lumber yard in 87. About 64, Dad started collecting antiques, and mostly antique clocks. And it got bigger and bigger. And the lumber yard kind of began diminishing. There's a little neighborhood lumber yard, and the big yards came in then.
Right. It's time before Home Depots and all, so this was...
clocks kept getting bigger and bigger. And that's about the time I started working there. And I've been doing that ever since. I'm York Lumber Company Incorporated, doing business as Calvin's Clocks. So it's still there, and I've never done anything else. I did custom picture framing for 30 years, so you may see that somewhere listed.
Huh.
But now I've got a clock shop, about the only one left in town. Sell a lot of, not a lot anymore. We sell modern grandfather wall mantle clocks, but 80% of my business is restoring antique clocks and doing service calls. So that's what it's turned into. It's kind of a strange mix, but it works.
Hey, you never know where it steers you.
That's true.
When you sold the truck, what kind of shape was it in? Was it beat up or was it decent?
No, it was decent. See, I was still going to high school when this happened.
Yeah.
So I was there Saturdays, sometimes after school. So a lot went on that I wasn't privy to. Just because I was only around there about 12, 15 hours a week. But I love what you're doing with it. It's worth more like it is than if it were fully restored.
And that's my opinion too. About 1 out of every 100 people go, "When are you going to restore it?" I go, "It's all done."
Gosh, no! What in the world would Wayne Carini do if he had it? This is what you've done to it.
I don't know if you saw the whole length of the videos of the restoration of it. There's about 19 of them together. It's on a playlist on my channel.
I've looked at some of them.
And it starts from when I first bring it in, how rotted and rusty it is, yep. And like how I'm going to go do about it. I cut the floors out of the back, top deck, and then I put new rails in it. Do the lower level, and then rebuild the top level, and then straighten the gates out, and get a drivetrain in it, and just kind of bring it back to the point where it got on the road. And
Amazing. Amazing. Give me your address.
Let me go shut my cell phone off. Perfect timing, right? So, I brought it back to life. The motor that was in it, I got it to run. There was a 56. The year was a 56 motor that was in it. The truck's a 59, so somebody swapped the motor out at some point. So but I have a later motor in it now, like a early 70s dual port in it, with slightly modified. But it runs nice, goes down the road fine. I've put 8,000 miles on it in the last 2 years.
Have you really?
Yeah, I run it everywhere. I run it, it's shop truck, Plus, I make those funky looking bikes, so it makes for a perfect stage. I go to a car show, I flip down the gates on the side, and it's its own stage,
Wow. Cool.
I got a winch built into the back of it, so there's a little toolbox you can kind of see. You lift that toolbox up, there's a winch built into the bed of the truck, for like hauling mowers and tractors and stuff up into the back. And that's it. I put about 400 pounds of steel in it to give you an idea. And then the outside of it, someone sprayed like red oxide primer over all the writing.
Okay.
And I used Goof Off and Scotch-Brite, and you can kind of tell, like you could read like part of the Brookhaven on the front, but you couldn't read like the gates in the back, what it said, and all that kind of stuff. So while I was restoring it, I'd clean a little off at a time, and it would kind of expose the writing that was on it, just to kind of keep me rejuvenated. Yeah. And then after I got all that off of there, I used toilet ring wax, the flanges you bolt the toilet down.
Sure.
Well, that's what's rubbed into the body on the outside. And then I took a hairdryer or a heat gun and kind of melted it. And it went like melted butter into toast. And then it got hard again. So now that the finish of it will stay that way. It won't have a problem with rusting anymore. Kind of like pickled, Yeah. And then the bottom is sprayed with bar and chain oil. And, I don't really take it out in the rain or anything unless I get caught in it. But, it's pretty much pickled from the weather anyhow.
You're not pampering it then?
No, well, you don't have to worry about scratching it, which is one good thing. I might just add to it. I added a back bumper to it, but I don't know if it ever had one from the factory or not, but when I got it, there was no bumper. And I found it in a junkyard in Vermont.
Yeah,
I want to say 90... I had it for like 10 years, and it's been 2 years on the road, so I've had it about 13 years.
Oh.
But what I do is when I get them, I kind of gather parts for them for a long time because it's cheaper, and then I take the parts and you know, pretty much load all the stuff in the back, build a motor for them, and then over the winter time I usually bring them in and, you know, tear them apart and go through them, and that's what I did with this one too, kind of the same thing.
Work? Do you have a job?
Yeah, I do a small engine work for the most part, and I do a lot of welding.
So you work at home?
And on the road, both.
Okay.
So, you know, a little bit of both.
You got flexible time schedule.
Yeah, and then in wintertime it gets slow, so that's kind of like when I do that kind of stuff. It fills in the blank spots. But as far as you know, and it's a hit. You bring it to any show, it takes first or second place usually in all the you know, split window trucks and buses, just because of the fact that it's got original paint, and you know, it's a survivor. It's still here after, you know, the life that it led. You don't know who it got sold to or anything like that, right?
I have a clue.
Yeah, my guess is a painter bought it, just because there's so much paint was like dribbled down the gates.
Oh, well, we wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, so that's kind of my guess, is that it was a painter, and then he didn't want to be driving around with you know, all the writing and everything on it, so he probably just shot and had a gun loaded with primer or whatever, just ran around it, shot that over the writing. Yeah. And maybe even used it for like a staging, you know, like leave the gates down, and if you're painting something like the side of a building, just use it and stand right up in the truck and you know, paint from it, because there was paint there, and still is. The deck in the back has all been replaced, but before I did that, there was just paint, you know, all over the inside of it, and then when the gates are down, you can see all paint stains and drips on the inside.
Oh, you're on the right track. On the right track. I've got a plastic zip open envelope, that's big enough to hold legal size paper, that's embossed with the name and address and phone. I'm going to send that to you. And
awesome.
I've got a 5x7 notepad that's got a vinyl holder that's embossed, and I've got a heavy yardstick that's got all the advertising on it.
Cool. Only thing I found in the truck, I did find a pencil.
I saw that. I saw that. Give me your address. I'll mail this stuff up to you.
Okay, I'm gonna shut the camera off for 1 second, and I'll give it so that.
Forwarded the link to one of my other brothers. He's out of town. I hadn't spoken to him in a while, and I showed it to my brother that worked with me at the lumber yard, and. Yeah, it's just too much.
You guys must have been like, you got to be kidding me, that thing is still around?
I know.
Because I tried looking up any information, but it just did a disconnect. I think 2009 or 2007 is like the history of Brookhaven Lumber Company. It showed like it went to a different location. What I found online, and then it kind of went dead from there. And then when I looked up like a Google Earth of the parking lot, it looked like it was chopped up into like a mini mall or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, there's the original location that still has the writing on the building.
Yeah.
And then there was like another address that popped up for it, but it was, again, it kind of looked like I don't want to say a mini, like a strip mall kind of thing. On a shape of
that's probably when we moved out to a different part of town with the clocks.
Okay, and that's probably when you pick up Yorks or something like that, when you were doing that, or?
Oh, we were always York.
Okay, yeah, because York was on the pencil, that's right.
York Lumber Company, doing business as Brookhaven Lumber.
Yeah.
And then doing business as Calvin's Clocks.
Gotcha.
So, that's about all I'm able to tell you about it.
If you find any more little bits or tidbits, or anybody who remembers, you know, where it went, or have any good stories about it, or it was stolen and recovered, or
no, nothing sexy like that.
They moved Jimmy Hoffa in or something, you know.
Well, I'm gonna send this stuff to you.
Awesome, I appreciate it so much.
And hang the yardstick in the rear window.
Well, I'll have all the stuff now. I'll put it in the cab right in it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you got any other questions, call me. You mentioned trying to get in touch with each other. You mentioned you could post a number and then delete it.
Yes. like, so if you want to get rid of your number that's on your thing, is what you're talking about?
Yes.
You go to where you posted it.
Yeah.
Go to the right-hand corner. A little arrow will pop up.
Okay.
Like a little V-looking thing. Click on that, and it'll either say edit or delete comment.
Okay.
And then that will get rid of it. And as far as like when I PM'd you, you have to go under, like, you go back to your home page, which is like the upper right-hand corner, whatever your icon is.
Well, my wife is tech savvy, but her email on this computer is screwed up. She can get it on her laptop.
It won't be on your email. It'll be in your it'll be on the YouTube page. Okay. It's part of the YouTube thing.
Comments, go to the right hand, hit what now, and go to the right hand corner.
Well, like, so you want to get rid of your thing first, right? Let me shut this off.
Phone number.
The best thing, I was like, well, I'll go restore it, and I can go get it all straightened out and everything. But once I started seeing that it had all the writing and everything on it, I'm like, that's got to kind of go and turn back into something that's
it's a time capsule.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and as cute as it can be.
It's got a smirk on its face. The bumper's a little twisted to one side, and everywhere I take the thing around, like, I have a bus that's all clean and pretty and shiny and everything, but it doesn't hold a candle to this one, just because of this one is just so loaded with personality.
Well, how many shows have you put it in?
It's probably been in, well, it does cruise nights all summer long.
Oh, cool.
And I run it around town, so everybody in town knows it and sees it. I take it to the diner.
I love it.
As I said, I put 8,000 miles on it, so you can imagine. And it only gets driven from, probably May till, when the first snow starts flying, November or something like that. So, 6-7 months a year that it's out and about. So, you got to figure 8,000 miles at the max of like 55 miles an hour.
Well, that's 1,000 miles a month.
Yeah.
Close. Wow.
So, it's getting its use. And as far as car shows itself, it's probably been in probably 20 car shows, and it's probably taken 10 trophies. Generally on a VW show, it pretty much almost gets a trophy every time it goes in. Not that that's what I bring it there for, but
sure.
And it also got kind of like invited to some like special events too that are invitation only.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. I get brought there with like $100,000 Rolls Royces and stuff like that, and there's Crusty right alongside them. And I went to one last show in Newburyport that was an invitation only. And as I pull around the corner, there's a whole bunch of crowds and everything. And they all start cheering because all these high expensive cars come in, and I come putting around the corner. My dog's sticking his head out the window.
It just brings a big grin to your face.
Yeah.
Let's trade emails.
Excellent. I went to go see him. I was asking about a pickup truck. He said, I think I know where one is. I'll get back to you in a couple of days. He called me back like 3 days later. He says, I have this truck at my place. So he had got it from the junkyard. He wouldn't tell me what a junkyard was, and brought it to his shop. And then when I got there, I saw it there. I think I paid $1,000 for it at that time. Okay. He probably paid whatever, 500 or whatever, but I didn't care. And I was just so psyched for what it was. And dragged my toy home with a tow bar, probably about 80 miles, something like that. And promptly got the motor to run, and did a bunch of stuff to it, stuck it out back, and then just started piling parts in it. And I had it kind of covered. And of course, it turns into a shed because of what it is.
Understand.
And then that was it when you saw me pulling it out for the first time, where it was running and it was putting out, and then bringing it to the into the garage, and then the restoration started from there.
Great. That is terrific. I bet it's a hoot to own it.
It is. It's a blast. If you're ever in the area, you're welcome to drive it again.
I'd love to get up there sometime for other reasons. That's the center of the American clock-making industry, is Connecticut. And there's several important museums up there we need to go up and see, but I just haven't done it yet.
Well, if you're ever in the area, the offer stands. I think it would be awesome to have a person who had it when it was a baby.
Who knew?
And it'd be cool if you actually find out whatever happened to 30 years in between the two of us. But
I don't have a clue. I'll see what I can find out. One of my brothers may remember, but they probably traded it in or sold it, and there's the end of the trail.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they stuck it out front with a sign on it, and somebody else kind of grabbed it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you need anything else, please feel free to contact me.
Excellent. Thanks again, and thanks for sending me the little accoutrements that can go with it now with all the information on it. That makes it that much better.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks.
All right. Take care. That's it, guys. A little history on the back of Crusty. Thanks for watching.